So, John, you've travelled down, I think you said 40 minutes from...
Yeah, about that. Yeah. Who here knows where Abersychan is?
You got a few hints?
Centre of the universe.
So, why does a guy like you end up at a place like Abersychan?
Oh, I love Abersychan. No one chooses to go to Abersychan. You end up there. It's been described in the past as Mordor. It's an area of high unemployment, 1 in 5 work. It's got the most kids in the care system for the whole of Europe. It's a forgotten valley. It's in the east. So, the Rhondda even is gentrifying because it's become a suburb to Cardiff. Our closest city is Newport, which isn't exactly paved with gold. And that's a good half an hour away. So we're a very isolated community. Abersychan, our valley, Abersychan, Garndiffer, Varteg, is 10,000 people in 3,000 homes. And, huge issues with social deprivation.
And you've poured your heart and soul and of your family into that community for how long?
2014, I began the ministry there. So I took on Noddfa. It had about 8 weeks left in the bank with half a dozen people there on a Sunday morning. And the valley was littered with similar churches like that, 5 or 6 churches that have all since closed, bar a couple, where you'd have 5 to 10 in the congregation, elderly.
So obviously a church in a tough place, in a hard place. What have you, in the last 10 years, this journey since 2014, what have you learned about yourself as a man and as a Christian leader?
Okay. Where we are now as a church, we have around 150 on a Sunday morning, praise the Lord. Our biggest demographic is young men. We're filling up with young men. We've got more under 30s than over, which is quite unique, and predominantly men. And we serve about 300 a week through our various ministries, which in a valley with 3,000 homes is huge. Because of the social deprivation, the first few years of ministry, I became a fixer. And what I've learned is I'm not a fixer, I'm a pointer. I point people to Jesus. And when you're called to an area and you love the people, you want to help them. You can't. But you can show them Jesus. And that's what I've learned. Just point, keep pointing. And the heartache that comes with that is to be willing to let people go. And if you don't want Jesus, I can't help you. And that's the challenge when you build up relationships with people that have come from all sorts of different backgrounds.
We'll come to one of the more recent highlights in a moment. But looking back on that journey, would you pick out particular highlights for you, things that have been breakthroughs?
Yes. I basically run a parish model. So everyone knows Pastor John there, and I'm the guy they come to for weddings and funerals and...
The fixer.
Yeah. If there's any need in the community, Pastor John gets called. If there's any need in the world, when the Ukraine war started, we were getting calls as a church, how can we help? People that would never walk through our doors know the church is the place to go to if you want to help others. What was the question?
Significant highlights.
Well, everyone knows about Carols Under the Arch. Yeah, Carols Under the Arch was very big for us. So each year,
Carols Under the Arch?
We've got there's a mine shaft about the size of this chapel, and we welcome around 1,000 every year to come and sing carols with us. The joke that I have every year is, every week we invite you to a warm, comfortable, family-friendly church, and you won't come, but you'll meet me under a grubby mining arch. But they hear the gospel, and again, it's all about repositioning the church in the community as the place to go to.
So, John, how did those folks who were there when you arrived cope with this transition, this culture shift? I mean, did they stay or did they go?
No, they were utterly desperate. And, to prove that, they called me to be their pastor. God had boiled that community down to just a half a dozen on a Sunday morning. There's 10 on the membership, but, too elderly or infirm to actually come in person. And, they were open and willing to try anything. And we compromise on everything other than the gospel. Because our desire is to listen to the needs of our community, be incarnational in our outreach, and work around them. So our church is open 24/7. Every night of the week there's something on. Throughout the day there's something on.
That must mean that you pay quite a personal cost, the 24/7 church family. So how do you maintain your own healthy balances?
I don't. No. I've raised my children through the church. I've been blessed with a wonderful family, and I thank God, and my kids are doing so well. And people say, you must be a really good father. I'm not. My children have been raised by the church, a diverse community of people that love them and that they can love. And it's given them social skills beyond what they could have got anywhere else. It's given them the ability to learn and listen and read people that has blessed them as they're beginning, in Arthur's case here, his adulthood. I fear that people in ministry see it as a job and they clock in and clock out. Jesus says, go the extra mile. And, it's not sacrificing your family for the church. It's incorporating them both, living out your faith. And that's what we do. We're committed to Abersychan, to Noddfa, and every moment of our life is to glorify God in that context. I don't switch Abersychan off to spend time with my kids. We live our mission. And the kids, when I first went to Abersychan, I knocked on every door and introduced myself. And my son, who's here now, Arthur, he was 6 at the time, and he came with me. He saw some horrific things. But no, you've got to have these areas of protection. Of course, you need family time. Yeah. I'm not denying that. But I fear that we're raising a generation of ministers that think that it's a clock on, clock off. No, you are called. You are called. It's your vocation. You live it out. And my family know there's nights where I get a phone call at, 8 at night, and I'm out then till 2, 3 in the morning. They get that. I'm thankful that God has given me an opportunity to show my children that following Jesus costs. And they'll live that commitment out too.
John, you mentioned Carols Under the Arch as one of those sort of breakthrough events in terms of the community. But in the last month or so, there's been another headline story.
Yes.
Is it the Argus?
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Tell us about
Yeah. So our dear brother just said something about Rumney Church, a similar thing. So our local school is in all sorts of special measures and what have you. So we agreed to create a learning hub for the school. They approached us. They've got kids that go to the PRU. They've got kids that are ALN, additional learning needs. They've got a group of pupils that are instigators of a lot of the trouble. Disenfranchised from school, no support from home. Standard story that you find in impoverished Welsh Valley settings. They needed a place for them. So we've partnered with the school to provide that place. They essentially wanted to rent the rooms out to teach them maths, English and science to keep them out of trouble. But Noddfa Church is for nothing but the gospel. So I agreed that they could use the rooms on the condition that we support their learning. So the teaching staff from the school come and do English, maths, science, and then 2/3 of their weekly schedule, Noddfa Church volunteers teach the kids life skills with a Christian ethos. So they're learning Spanish, mechanics, cooking, CV writing, you name it.
And the
craft.
The headline was about the truancy rate.
Yeah, so the truancy was so high, 600 missed lessons a week, just in Abersychan school.
And the Argus headline was
96% reduction.
Reduction in truancy.
Because there was 21 children registered with our school. They're not missing us. They're loving it with us, so they're actually coming. But when they were in the school, they would bring 3 or 4 of their friends with them, you see. But 575 more lessons a week means an extra grade, which means a better college place, which means a better job. So it's transforming our valley.
So John, I suppose this is what you mean by engaging with the community, compromising on everything.
Yes.
But the gospel.
But the gospel, exactly. And I don't want to hear anyone say that they don't have the time or resources to do this in their own church. We started with 6 elderly souls. You know, you can all do something and go the extra mile and meet the needs of your community. The message is only as strong as the bridge it's carried on. And that the gospel needs to be shared relationally, especially when you're dealing with a blank canvas that we have. You know, that church-going generation are all dead now. There's no stigma. We've got a wonderful opportunity as a nation that the harvest is plentiful. You've just got to go the extra mile to reap. And I'm praying that what we're doing at Noddfa gives you some hope that it can be done everywhere else.
Yes, you sound incredibly optimistic.
Absolutely, yeah. I would really struggle in places like Romania, where it's 96% Orthodox, where everyone thinks they're Christian. I find that far harder to get the gospel to people that think they're a Christian than somewhere like Abersychan, where everyone will strongly tell you that they're definitely not and want nothing to do about it. You can present the gospel afresh then. And we're in that time now in Wales, aren't we? I'm incredibly excited for the future in Wales.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see and good to hear. And I'm sure folks will have some questions for you and for Ben and Phil in a little while. You mentioned investing in discipling young men.
Yes.
One of those young men, we're going to see a video now, is a guy called Jason, and Noddfa, John, and WLF have invested in Jason's development as a Christian leader and a Christian pastor.
Yeah.
And we're going to see his story now.
Can I say something quickly? So we've got 9 men that we're bringing on as a church, and that's a real blessing. You know, one of them has done nearly a decade in Her Majesty's care prior to becoming a Christian and then becoming part of our training program. Jason is now elder. He pastors the church with me, and he wouldn't be where he is today without the WLF. And I just want to thank you all for your support, because he's a gift to our church and he's a gift to our valley. And we wouldn't have him in the capacity we've got him if it wasn't for your support. So thank you.
So this is Jason's story.
Well, this is our lovely valley, as you can see. Here we're on an old mining site, the old ironworks and coal mine, and there was a fiberglass factory just down the bottom. You have Abersychan, Garndiffer, and you have the Vartig. They're very territorial. We have a lot of poverty in our area, a lot of missing fathers, a lot of single parents in the valley. So we serve a wide community as a church. It's very challenging.
1 in 5 of my church work. 72% of the kids in our local school are in single parent homes. And we have the highest amount of children in the care system in the whole of Europe.
There's a lot of broken people out there, You know, a lot of people from broken families, ex-drug addicts, and, you know, from people who's been abused. You work with all kinds of people, and it all comes with a challenge. But we love them, and we want to see them changed. We do a lot of evangelism from our food chain. Through lockdown, we fed 50,000 meals out over the course of the 3 years of lockdown. Christmas just gone, we gave 160 meals out over Christmas. We hand out our literature as we hand out the food. Through our food share, we reach a lot of people. We're up on Shepherd's Hill caravan site in Pontypool. I'm a traveller gypsy. This is where I grew up. This is my family home before I got married. Went to school, to the primary school in Pontypool, where I learned to read and write. I left the comprehensive school of Westmont when I was 12 to go to work with my father, so I never finished my education. The WLF really helped me financially and helped me grow in an area that I needed to grow in, with meeting different people and different needs and of different cultures.
The Growing Churches programme has had a massive impact on Jason. Since joining, he has grown in many different areas of outreach and has been a massive support to our church as we seek to serve this hard community. The course was very accessible and allowed Jason to work with the church during his studies. Jason has had a massive involvement in our Christmas and Easter outreach, our youth work, and he preaches regularly at the church.
That's what it is for me. It's just the love of people, the love of God, and He infuses the love for me to love others as He loved me. We learned a lot about different ways to evangelize to different cultures and different types of people. My evangelizing was always shouting at people on the street, and it wasn't working. We had different men come in with different ways of how to preach the gospel, and in the most effective way, building relationships rather than hammering the gospel home. I would say go and join and give it a go. Doesn't matter if you're educated or uneducated, this program will benefit you immensely, and it will help you in your way of reaching people for the gospel for Jesus Christ.